Hello, vinyl community. So we lost one of our greats, Mr. David Crosby, a couple days ago on the 18th. So C is going to be Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young Deja Vu, released in 1970. An incredible album. There's David. You can see. You had Greg Reeves on bass, Stephen Stills there on the guitar. They all played multi-instrumental. This was a 7 times platinum album. It was the follow-up to their 1969 debut, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, which was David Crosby from the Byrds, Graham Nash from the Hollies, and Stephen Stills from Buffalo Springfield. They wanted to add a little more pizzazz to the follow-up. I think they had some sophomore slump going on, truly. So they recruited Neil Young. And you can see Neil there. A couple pictures of Neil, right? Terrific songs all the way, just unbelievable. Carry On, Deja Vu, Teach Your Children, and David, since we're highlighting Crosby, I'll show you my t-shirt here. There's the Cros. Saw him a couple years ago up at the Croton Dam for the Clearwater Festival. And I've seen him with Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young a couple times. Both at the beach and up at the Gathering of the Vibes. Crosby, Stills, and Nash played. All times they were outstanding. Produced by all of them. David Crosby's song, that's what I was, Almost Cut My Hair, which is a great ballad where he just rocks out. Really good guitar by Neil Young and Stephen Stills, I presume, both of them. There's a lot of guitar weaving in and out of this. And then the Deja Vu, the title cut, which is just amazing. Greg Reeves on bass, Dallas Taylor on drums, and then Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young all do vocals, all play guitar. Nash plays a bunch of keyboards. They're just multi-instrumentalists. On Teach Your Children, Jerry Garcia played. I think there's a picture of Jerry there. You can see him there. And John Sebastian played harp on... He played on Deja Vu, mouth harp on Deja Vu, John Sebastian. Yeah, it's wailing. It's great. Engineered by Bill Halverson, recorded at Wally Heider's both in LA and up in San Francisco. Agent and friend David Geffen. Of course, Geffen, a lot of the Laurel Canyon folks that they hung out with. Joni Mitchell, who wrote Woodstock on this. Mamas and the Papas, Cass Elliot. Jackson Brown. James Taylor was in that mix. Carole King. Linda Ronstadt. All of the LA musicians later. Bonnie Raitt. Lowell George. Warren Zevon. J.D. Souther, the Eagles, of course, were Linda Ronstadt's backing band. All of the, am I missing anybody? John Sebastian to some extent. The Laurel Canyon crew. So really nice cover. You can see the sepia tone and there's texture on the album. I don't know if you can see that. If the camera can pick that up. And I'll show you the labels. We have the Atlantic catalog label. Sleeve. I need to get a new sleeve. I'd say that a lot of these albums. And the old Atlantic green and red. And you can see the cuts. Side 1, got Carry On. That Stills wrote Teach Your Children, that Nash wrote. Almost Cut My Hair, that I mentioned with Crosby. Terrific ballad, followed up by Neil Young's Helpless. Woodstock, Joni Mitchell finishes it. And then the second side, we've got Deja Vu. Crosby's song, Our House, Graham Nash, 4 and 20, a ballad by Stills. And Neil finishes, there's a Stills Young song, Everybody I Love You, at the end. But the Country Girl Suite, 2 songs he did with Buffalo Springfield, Whiskey Boot Hill and Down, 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 and Country Girl, I Think You're Pretty. Just an incredible album all around. I thought it was a good one for David Crosby, in memoriam of him. I remember him doing Deja Vu up there. He did a lot of his new stuff as well. I believe he did Almost Cut My Hair. It was an acoustic show. And he played 12 string a lot. And of course, David Crosby was in, however, I haven't mentioned it, the Byrds. Before this, Crosby was in the Byrds. Right, I think I did mention that. And played on their first 4 albums before he left the band. Fantastic album. Check it out on vinyl community. You'll love it if you haven't heard it. If you have heard it, you know they just released an audiophile version of the first album, the one before this. Also sepia tone Crosby, Stills, and Nash that just came out. Supposed to be really good sounding. I love this album. I believe I have it on CD as well. I'm going to be listening to a lot of David Crosby over the weekend. So we'll follow up. That's C is for Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. I want to do a Jeff Beck. I guess that will be our B, but we may do multiple Bs and multiple Cs. We'll see. Have a great weekend, vinyl community. Thanks for tuning in. Doodah Dave checking out here. 7-time platinum Deja Vu. Listen to it. It's fantastic. Really, really great stuff. They were a super group, one of the first super groups. This album spawned all of their solo careers. They all did solo albums and albums together. Stills and Young did Long May You Run. Nash and Crosby did albums together. Stills did a bunch of solo albums and had bands. Manassas. Neil's had many bands. Most famous probably being Crazy Horse. Loved Crazy Horse. Now he's been working with Promise of the Real, Willie Nelson's son, Lucas Nelson's band. Just great stuff. David went on to work with Snarky Puppy. He worked with his son, James Pivar Raymond. James Raymond Pivar, I think his name is. And yeah, just great stuff. Really bridged the 69 to 70 period. A quick story, I was nuts for the first album. I had bought the first album, listened to it, and played it, and I was going to feature that one, but I really wanted to do this. This was, as I said, 7 times platinum. I mentioned that. And I remember when it came out in 1970 in March and I lived in the city at the time, and going to the local stationery store. Can you believe stationery stores carried records, and going there and buying it? And couldn't wait to get the wrapping off. I wish I still had the hype sticker, but we threw away hype stickers back in those days. It wasn't a big deal. And that's Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. The last time I saw them all together, like I said, was at the beach. I think it was the 2018 Freedom of Speech tour, which was really special, which was great. And they played a lot of this album. I mean, Helpless, Deja Vu, Carry On, Teach Your Children. Yeah, great stuff. Been used in many soundtracks. All right, Final Community. We'll see you soon with another one. I'm going to follow up with a Jeff Beck. I'm going to do the Jeff Beck group from 1972. That's a really good one. I think you'll enjoy that. Okay. Take care. Keep on rocking. Doodah Dave signing out.